Good evening, everyone. It's a hot, muggy day, but we needed the terrace because a lot of people, a lot of our members want to come and hear the Municipal Commissioner, Mr. P.K. Das and Mr. R.C. Sinha, all very esteemed people who have been closely connected to the development of the city. So that's why we had to organize it on the terrace. There will be a little discomfort for some time, but hopefully as the evening progresses, things will cool down. We'll get going now. Could I invite Mr. Bhushan Gagrani, Municipal Commissioner, on the stage as one of the panelists, and please. Let me introduce Mr. R.C. Sinha, who's IAS officer, retired, been connected to everybody. I'll give a short introduction later on. And Mr. P.K. Das, please come. Friends, today the interaction, making Mumbai a livable city, is a very significant and important subject which all of us have been debating either in our writing, broadcast material, or digital media. All that's been going on. And who better to present it here than the new Municipal Commissioner? Firstly, congratulations to having become the Municipal Commissioner. And could I request Mr. Rajesh, our Secretary, to felicitate Mr. Bhushan with a small bouquet from the Press Club. We also have Mr. R.C. Sinha, retired IAS, part of the panel. Could I request Mr. Nauzar Barucha of the Times to come and give a small token from the side of the Press Club to felicitate Mr. Sinha. And last but not least, Mr. P.K. Das, who's here with us. Could I request Mr. B.N. Kumar, on behalf of the Press Club, to give a bouquet to Mr. P.K. Das. Both environmentalists, it's a good thing. In the way of profiles, let me just give a small introduction to all of them so that we are up to speed to what they represent and where they come from. Everybody knows it, but a little jiggling the memory is always good for all of us. Mr. Bhushan Gagrani, Municipal Commissioner, is known for his low-profile style of functioning, and as a shrewd administrator, Mr. Gagrani has managed to put big-ticket projects of all chief ministers he has worked with on track without ruffling feathers in political circles. Dr. Bhushan Gagrani, 1990 batch IAS officer, comes to the job with a rare record of working in the offices of 3 successive chief ministers of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis, Uddhav Thackeray, and Eknath Shinde. The additional chief secretary rank officer was one of the key officers in Mr. Shinde's office and comes with vast experience in urban development. With all India third rank, Mr. Gagrani was the first IAS officer to have cleared the examination in the Marathi language, and he hails from Kolhapur. A postgraduate from Kolhapur's Shivaji University, he also holds an LLB and MBA degree from the University of Birmingham. He has a PhD in management from the Mumbai University. Mr. Gagrani has held positions in tourism, medical education, public health department, the Maharashtra MIDC, the CIDCO, and urban development department. Mr. Gagrani is not new to the press club. When this press club was inaugurated in 2007, he accompanied then Chief Minister Vilas Rao Deshmukh for the inauguration. So he's an old member, and I requested him to revive his membership too. Mr. R.C. Sinha to introduce him. Again, he's not a newcomer to either Mumbai, to the press club, or to the media. He's been here very long and done yeoman's work for the city's development. He has the rare distinction of conceiving, handling, and executing mega-urban projects. In his stint as Vice Chairman and MD of the the Maharashtra Road Transport Corporation, he introduced the famous half-hourly luxury bus service between Mumbai and Pune called the Asiad Services. He was Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting for 5 years and was the one who introduced FM radio at the outset. As Vice Chairman and MD of CITCO, he helped develop Navi Mumbai, including the landmark railway stations and the famous NRI complex, which was sold out across the breadth of the country in 9 days. He was Additional Chief Secretary, Urban Development and Revenue and Forest Department, Government of Maharashtra. He was also Vice Chairman and MD, Maharashtra State Development Corporation, and executed the Mumbai-Pune Expressway at the cost of over rupees 1,600 crores at that time. He also helmed the completion of 50 flyovers in the Mumbai metropolitan region. Since retirement, he has been an advisor and held senior rank in posts in the government of Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Goa, and Jharkhand. As a further introduction, he's come out with a book, Transforming India from Within, which is available to all journalists who have come here. When you are leaving, this book will be presented, and we have to thank Mr. Trivedi of Navi Mumbai, of the Progressive Group, for having seen to it that the book gets to everybody. Finally, the third panelist, we have Mr. P.K. Das, architect. Mr. Das, all through his more than 40 years of his career, has been an architect activist, advising and lobbying for better town and city planning and more sustainable growth for the communities that inhabit urban centers. As a joint convener of the Nivara Haq, he is engaged in some of the world's largest slum rehabilitation projects of over 20,000 families in the Borivali National Park and over 80,000 families living in the slums within Mumbai Airport. Also, the planning and housing for over 27,000 conservancy staff, the lowest paid municipal employees in Mumbai, has been planned by him. His capacity to not only plan and design, but as an activist to mobilize affected people and contribute to the struggles for housing rights makes him stand out. Das sees housing rights of the poor and their struggles essentially as a part of a larger struggle for democratic rights, particularly important in the city of Mumbai. He also developed, in his younger days, as part of the JJS College of Architecture, associated with the Jafar Baba slums in Bandra. And it was a project which was conducted by Build and backed by CITCO. He also spearheaded the movement for reclaiming public spaces in Mumbai, and one of the smart developments that has come out of that is the Bandra waterfront. This is a short introduction. They've done much more. After this, you all can definitely interact. To start off the proceedings, we've discussed with the panelists, and there'll be no long speeches. There will be short introductions. And can I call upon, we'll start with Mr. Bhushan Gagrani as the first speaker. We have seen a slew of projects which are now either completed or on the point of completion. We have the coastal road, which is near completion, a boon to those commuting north to south and south to north. But like a friend of mine, environmentalist Devi Goenka, pointed out, while we have tolls all over the place, the guys taking this road are not paying any toll. Why are they not contributing to the city? A pertinent question which is being asked. There is now another project seeking to take off, which is the race course. The race course has been taken over by the municipal corporation, which was leased initially by the municipal corporation, and we have talk of making it a Hyde Park, like the Central Park in New York or the Hyde Park in London. Where are these projects going? We have the Atal Setu, which at tremendous cost and effort has been constructed, but somehow people feel that it is too costly, usage is low. Many of these projects are coming up, and Mumbai has never seen it so good, where it has been realized that development is a must, and we've got to be a smart city, yes, but at what cost? These are the questions being asked. It's really graceful and fantastic that Mr. Gagrani is with us, and it is, we are really using this occasion to sort of request him to make a small presentation about what he sees as a new municipal commissioner. What are the ticker points? What are the important projects that are going to define and make this city more livable? Mr. Gagrani, you could sit and also chat. There's no problem. Or would you prefer to stand? And
No, just stay here. Thank you very much, President, for the very generous introduction. Our idol in the service, Mr. Sinhaji, Mr. P.K. Das, all friends, those who are present here. Please take note that I will be completing 2 months in office day after. So be gentle. Thank you. I've been here at the press club at least 3-4 times before in different capacities. I was working with chief ministers earlier, and I was for quite a long time I was DG IPR issuing accreditations. So that time I used to come here not in the evening, but I have very fond memories of few of my friends which I was mentioning with Mr. Singh. So thank you for giving me opportunity to revisit these things. As we know, whether I am a commissioner, Mumbaikar, we are witnessing a huge transformation into city of Mumbai. This visual transformation is likely to translate into socio-economic transformations as well. Some of you might have studied the transformations which happened and which is comparable with the transformation we are going through right now in different parts of world on that scale. What they call officially as Commissioner's Grid Plan 1811, which changed the city of New York, Manhattan, which completed around 1875. If you closely observe those milestones, there is a striking similarity what we are going through right now. Same issues, same problems, same challenges, urban planning issues, health issues, topography issues, how those problems were addressed at that point of time. Of course, addressing problem, the emerges from various different socio-economic contexts. So we may not be addressing the same problems in the same manner. However, the transition remains the same. What Manhattan gone through from 1811 to 1870, we are almost witnessing the same path, same challenges. what we visualizing as on today in terms of I very cautiously use the word iconic infrastructure projects, which are of course visually iconic, but those projects will bring lot of transformation in urban mobility, in socio-economy, in cultural scenario, the way we think, the way we perceive. I always think sometime in contrafactual. If this thing would not have been there, what would have happened? And the best example is the product of Mr. Sinha, that is Mumbai-Pune Expressway. It has gone through the same kind of path. There were apprehensions, there were denials, there were opposition, same project challenges. Now, if that project, which at that point of time I suppose took 3,000 crore rupees, if this project would not have been there, what would have happened? Contrafactual. We take this project so granted after some time, and obviously so, that it is not the question of cost-benefit analysis of that project. If that project would not have been there, the Pune city, which has become second or third biggest IT export center of India, would not have emerged as the IT thing at all. It would not have emerged as the automobile hub of India. It would not have emerged as a R&D center. If this connectivity would not have been there, we would have lost so much of, it is called opportunity lost in economics. So infrastructure project is not necessarily deriving the benefit only from traveling from point A to point B or only for that project, but it has got uncountable socio-economic impacts. Those impacts not necessarily measurable at the time of installation or time of completion of that project. It takes some time. Many times we don't know how the entire economy or the microeconomy or the local economy is going to react to that project. As I see it, because of these two projects, one is the coastal road and the second is the MTHL, the entire real estate market is likely to go a very basic transformation within next 5 to 10 years in Mumbai. There will be a lot of equilibrium into the real estate market, which I see coming in a big way, whether it's a residential or commercial. So I'm giving in just an example that infrastructure projects, particularly connectivity projects, are likely to bring the benefits which are not necessarily comprehended at the time of actual completion of the project. As a city which is transforming very rapidly, what a Mumbaikar is supposed to contribute or react, what is the acceptability of these projects, how to maintain these projects in the long term, what is the cost benefit analysis. There are a lot of project related issues which will keep coming. I think it's a my introductory observations are basically, I am told that we are talking about infrastructure projects related things today. That is why I am not touching other issues. But in a different context, I remember that the song about Mumbai only. क्या कोई नई बात नजर आती है हम में, आईना हमें देख के हैरान सा क्यों है. The transformation is so fast that the mirror is also surprising, that I was not yesterday like this, today I am different, the next day I am different. So the song may be in a different context, but I take it positively. So thank you very much for giving me opportunity to express my introductory remarks. In any case, I will be joining with question and answer and try to react as far as can possible, as a 2-month-old commissioner can react. Thank you.
Can I now request Mr. Sinha, who has been in a historic sort of role in different positions, all related to urban development, infrastructure projects, and transformation of Mumbai in various capacities. So historically, he's striding across maybe 4 or 5 decades of contribution. So I really would like to have the audience know how he has seen this transformation. Where is Mumbai going? Did the vision which he had maybe 20 years ago, is it being transformed in the right way, or there needs to be course correction? Over to Mr. Sinha.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Gagrani, Mr. Das, and my colleagues. Can you hear me now, please? Am I clear? Okay. Thank you. Now, I've been asked, Mr. Singh, to talk about the transforming Mumbai also. I moved in city of Mumbai in 1963. And since then, except being in the districts, something like in Parvani, which was known, Bani to Bani, nahi to Parvani, was known as the bad post. So we moved like that, and I came to CIDCO, where I was first time directly involved with the infrastructure projects, making this city. I remember, Mr. Singh, I was finished my term in the Government of India, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. My Chief Secretary then rang me up. He said, the Chief Minister, Mr. Sharad Pawar, wants to meet you. So I said, okay. He must be asking. So I met him in Delhi. So he told Mr. Sinha, we have decided to post you in CIDCO. I was not very happy. I told him, sir, why CIDCO? CIDCO is the graveyard of good officers. So why you are posting me there? He said, no, you have done urban development and you have to go there. If a government orders, I'll go there. And it was really a graveyard. There was nothing there. Total population at that time of New Bombay, Mr. Gurnani had been with me from that time, was hardly about 30,000. New Bombay was known as Vashi. Vashi means New Bombay means Vashi. And there was a single road connecting Mumbai to New Bombay. And at that time, that road, out of 7 days, 3 days was under repair. At least. If not, it may be 4 days it was under repair. I looked at the factor that New Bombay has to work as a counter magnet to Bombay so that the overpopulation in Bombay can be absorbed in the New Bombay. And therefore the pressure on the infrastructure in Bombay and pressure of the population can be shifted to New Bombay to stop that. That was my feeling at that time. I discussed with the officers and tell you, Mr. Singh, nobody believed me. That was my problem always. Nobody believed that what I am saying can be done. Okay. So, but first problem that I faced was there was no water in New Bombay. It was depending on MIDC's water supply to New Bombay. There was no own water supply there. So we have to do some MUMBAI Dam and the World Camp help. Secondly, there was no telephone line. Bombay to New Bombay was STD. You have to ring up 2153 and then ring up the number. And that to also wait some time for that. Most of the time it was not working. Thirdly, the major problem was that once in a week, Friday, there was no power for 24 hours. What power was only for 6 days, and that too not 24 hours. 18 hours, 20 hours. We will be very happy. साहब 20 घंटे तो बिजली आ जाती है. So I said, no, this has to change. So we started working with the cooperation with MACB, with the telephone department, and very interesting, the telephone department. Mr. Gagrani, you'll be happy to know, because I went to meet the telephone secretary telecom, and he said, no, Bombay is other district and New Bombay is other district, so there can't be STD line. Simple. And then, then they connected Ghaziabad to Delhi. So I went to meet him. I said, you are connecting Ghaziabad in the state of UP to Delhi. And when I called Bombay, New Bombay, you are saying there are two districts. Sir, very humbly I am saying it. I will go to High Court under Article 14 of the Constitution, file a case of discrimination between two states. Will you like to face it? It will not take me more than half an hour. And don't think I am a government. I am a public sector company. And company can file a case against the central government. State government can't file a case against the government. But company can do it. He agreed, telephone came there, no railway line. So this is first also to bring the railway line. Because without railway line, New Bombay would have never developed it. In that development of New Bombay, railway line, my colleague Mr. Jha did the yeoman surveys. He did the drawing, he followed it with the railway. And what was the system? 67% will be paid by CIDCO and 33% by the Government of India. That was the ratio decided, which was, my finance secretary was opposed to it. How can we pay 67% government of 30? I said, no, I need the railway for development of the city. So we did it. We did also. Then we found something which was happening in New Bombay was, it was becoming a city of working in Bombay and living in New Bombay. That was like a extended suburb.
Dormitories.
Yeah. So I said this has to change. So for changing that, I had to first shift the Agriculture Produce Market Committee from Ballard Pier to New Mumbai. Now, Mr. Mohan Gurnani was chairman of the Federation of Association of Maharashtra. He's a very nice, decent person, a big bargainer. He took everything from me, including plot for the traders, including land for the workers, including the club for the merchants, including school land for that. That land which was given at 4 lakhs, they sold later on for 4 crores. But that movement of coming to the Agriculture Market Committee gave a boost to the whole New Mumbai and decongested the South Mumbai. The big role was played in decongesting the Bombay city by shifting the wholesale market to New Mumbai. That took place at that time. And then after that, I was shifted to Mantralaya, so it's also. Then I didn't join the post. Then we had them. Then I was asked by the Chief Minister, you come back to Mantralaya. I said, okay. And Chief Minister very nicely told me, Mr. Chennai, you can't work with anybody except me, so please join my department so that you don't have to deal with anybody. So I was appointed as a Additional Chief Secretary Urban Development because CM was the Minister for Urban Development and also. Then I was retired in 30th November 96. When the scheme said, okay, you do this, join Maharashtra State Road Development Corporation, I want Mumbai-Pune Expressway. No, a flyover to be done. Mumbai-Pune was not there. Flyover to be done. I joined. One day, suddenly I got a phone from Mr. Gadkari, Minister, saying, Mr. Sinha, you are going to do Mumbai-Pune Expressway. I said, which road? He said, Mumbai-Pune. I said, I've never heard about it. It was never there. He said, no, today Cabinet had decided to give work to you. I said, but I didn't know it. He said, no, that decision has been taken. It's a Cabinet decision, so you cannot get out of that. So I was forced Mumbai-Pune Expressway by the Cabinet to take it. Now, doing Mumbai-Pune Expressway, I had major problem, Mr. Singh. One, there was no land and we needed 980 hectares of land for making Mumbai-Pune Expressway. There was no forest clearance. There was no environment clearance. There was no design approved and there was no design in India for the expressway. Because no expressway had been made before that. In Asia, there is only one expressway, Lahore to Peshawar. And this was in India's first. So, Mr. Bongirwar, who was my joint secretary, we got into touch with USA, got the drawings of the expressway from USA, appointed the consultant to do it. So, Mr. Singh, I had one thing decided, that our engineers, our people will do it. That is why I called my book Transforming India from Within. I am sure my contractors, my engineers, my consultant, my project managers, financial advisors and management are competent to do the major project like Mumbai-Pune Expressway. The original estimate of this road was 1,450 crores. And Reliance has quoted for this road 3,200 crores. In that meeting of the cabinet, Gadkari said, if you give the work to Reliance, I'll resign. I'll resign and tell to the press that this is the reason I am resigning. He said, but who will do it? He said, I will ask Sena to do it. I was not aware of. So this came. It's a quoted of 1450 crores, estimated 3,200 crores with Reliance. And very interesting, there are 4 tenders who participated in this project. And the 4 had a meeting in Oberoi. They said, why we are conflicting ourselves? Reliance will take the work, we will take partly work. So why we are conflicting? And that is how Mr. Gadkari has come to know of this. It is a conspiracy like this. So he put his foot down. So that is how the road came. The whole road of 980 hectares was acquired in 6 months' time, with a record acquisition under the 1894 Act of Land Acquisition. New Act has not come. 6 months, because I worked out on the Act backward, how much time it can take. I work it out. If we follow section 4696A and joint measurement, it can be done in a period of 4 months. It took me 6 months to do it. What we did was, we had a chart, name of the district, name of the tehsil, name of the village, name of the khatedar, and either 4 has been done, or 6 has been done, 8 has been done. I used to talk to the government press that this has to be issued tomorrow, otherwise I'll talk to CM. I used to use threat, because CM has given me free hand. And well, Mr. Singh, Mr. Das, you'll be happy to know I had complete trust, faith and confidence of both Mr. Chief Minister, Mr. Manohar Joshi, late, and Mr. Nitin Gadkari. If I tell Mr. Gadkari, कि sir, this is the day, he will say, अब सिन्हा कह रहा day तो day ही होगा. That was the belief and trust. A major project require a full political backing. Without that, a major project cannot be done. And I had that confidence. So we did it. Then total project cost was 1,430 crores. 20 crores less than the estimated cost of the Public Works Department, and 1,610 crores including interest during construction, IDC, which was much less than the estimated. Flyover was other problem. City was getting choked. You go from Kapparate to airport, there was about 17 signals. Today, at least you do the Bandra-Valli link to airport, there is no signal after that. All clear weather. In fact, I remember Mr. Jairath was the secretary to governor. He rang me up. He said, Mr. Sinha, governor asked me, how did we reach the airport so fast? He said, sir, there are 4 flyovers, especially Kalina Vakola. So we reached early. He said, who did it, Sinha? He said, please congratulate him on my behalf. Thanks for that. So that is what it is also, saving of time. Now, saving of time has also meant the saving of energy and diesel. My calculation at that time was, because of flyover, 350 less buses will be required to run in Mumbai to provide the same level of services which was being provided before that. Now 350 buses not using, instead of using flyover, means how much saving of diesel. It leaves to your imagination, you can work it out. And so for Bandra-Worli linkages, my system was very simple. I will charge toll tax 1 liter of petrol at that time. Continue. So we did it also, and normal period of construction of flyover in Mumbai is 48 to 60 months. 52 flyovers in MMR area, Mumbai Metropolitan Region Development Authority, has been done on the average time of 13 and a half months, which I think my people, my herds, my officers, we have done it. I can't say I have done it, we have done it, which includes my officers, my consultants, my designers, my bankers, everybody. And then other major things I had faced a problem. Apart from no clearance, no land, no environment clearance, I didn't have money. After doing 1,600 crores of flyover and 1,400 crores of Mumbai-Pune Expressway, 3,000 crores, government was very kind enough, very nice to give me 5 crores. I told the CM, I said, sir, how can we do it 5 crores? He said, no, I have no money. I said, then you have no money, why you are going for the road? He said, that is your problem. It's not my problem. You have to find it out the money and do it. I had to. And at that time, I must share, I met Mr. Deepak Parekh. He told me one sentence, Mr. Sinha, if you have good project, the money will chase you. If you have bad project, poor project, you will chase the money and you will never reach it. And I followed. I made a project which are financially viable, and we mortgage the future receivable of toll, and on that passage we borrowed the money from the banks and financial institutions, including provident funds, including Bombay Port Trust, etc. We raised 2,600 crores and 400 crores came to me from the banks itself, especially the cooperative banks, and we are able to get this money. One thing more about the flyovers, Mr. Singh, I will like to share with you is, we did not follow sequential system of construction. We made pillar at the site and ramps outside casting, and we kept it. You'll be surprised that the sand flyover, I was given 2 hours in 24 hours, 4 to 6 in the morning. I was told by Mr. Jadhav, Joint Commissioner of Traffic, only 2 hours I can stop sign the road, otherwise I cannot stop it, you have to do it. And that 2 hours, I took 15 months to complete that road, because pillar was constructing. Many obstacles came at that time, some interesting. You may be aware of Duke's Hotel in Pune and Lonavala. They sent a notice to the collector that by blasting from MSRDC, my hotel is being damaged. Therefore, I should be paid 2 crores compensation for repairing the hotel. And the Mathankar was the collector, he sent me some what to do. I sent a notice to him, please acquire this hotel under Section 4 of Land Acquisition Act, because hotel is being damaged, it will be destroyed. What is the use of it? Let us acquire it. When they got a notice to him, he realized, "Nee, we have done mistake." He came to me, "No, sir." I said, "Look here, you have given a notice. I am acquiring it." He said, "आप होटल के क्या करेंगे?" मैंने कहा, "हमारे वर्कर्स के लिए वहाँ पर लेबर कैंप बना देंगे होटल में, हमारे वर्कर्स वहाँ पर रहेंगे." Okay. Then I said, "Give an affidavit just to cheat the government. You had issued this notice." I kept that affidavit and did not withdraw the case till the road was completed. Road completed, I said, "Now withdraw the notice." Other interesting case, there was a poultry farm. They issued a notice to me that because of blasting, our hens have stopped laying eggs. So please pay compensation for the chicken. I said, "Okay. MAPCO have a rate, I will purchase all your chickens at a MAPCO rate and give it to my laborer." Okay. So these are the things has to be faced, and my officer did was out of box thinking and find out a solution, and rest. If the questions are asked, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think it's really captures a part of history which even I didn't know, and a lot of our media friends would not know, how these intricacies of and the difficulties and challenges of building infrastructure projects. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions, especially what you think is going to come now. But before that, to round up, I think we'll ask Mr. Das to say a few words. He comes from the other side of the fence, where in the process of building infrastructure projects, thousands and thousands of people were who were poor in the slums, had no housing. Migration was at its peak, not like now, and people were being dishoused. In the early 80s, we remember Chief Minister Mr. Antole pushing them out to Panvel and Navi Mumbai, workers and slum dwellers who are living along P. de Mello Road and all these areas, packed into trucks like cattle carts and pushed out. And that's when the whole challenge of housing rights started, a movement started, and finally Mumbai was sensitized to it. In many ways, new laws came in, and Maharashtra actually pioneered many of the laws which allowed certain rights for encroachments, for rebuilding, and then, that basically a recognition that there is an other side of Mumbai too. And I think that's the side which, for a large part of his career, Mr. Das has represented. And I'd ask him to say something on what his vision is for Mumbai becoming more livable. Yeah. Or you can, this is actually a better mic.
Okay. Switch this off. Thank you, Gurbir, Mr. Sinha, our Honorable Municipal Commissioner, Mr. Gagrani, and all of you here from the press and friends. It's very hard for me to really speak about infrastructure projects after hearing on two very interesting aspects of the infrastructure projects, one that Mr. Gagrani presented and one Mr. Sinha. And Mr. Sinha exposing or talking about the nitty-gritties and how a will can change many, many things to make a project really successful or achievable. And undoubtedly an individual's commitment to the government's commitment, as he rightly said. And Mr. Gagrani, of course, pointed out to a very interesting point, stating that if these were not done, what would it be today like? And that's very interesting because, the one question that obviously comes up front is these big projects that are being implemented with a lot of fervor, a lot of backing, a lot of will, a lot of money. The basic question that comes often to most people's mind is, yes,
things have improved, certainly, in many, many ways. But for how many people? And who really benefits, and who has really benefited from them? Undoubtedly, both sides have to be discussed at length to understand the dynamics of development and the people and their benefit in terms of what today is about the livable modern city, Mumbai. I am drawn to a different infrastructure question, which I'll raise here. I'm sorry, I'm completely changing gear. An infrastructure that has been pushed under the carpet quite deliberately for many, 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 many years, and which is an infrastructure which is really a life-saving infrastructure. If I may put it that way, it is an infrastructure, if we don't pay attention to, and if we don't take deliberate steps in our planning and investment and willpower to carry that out, it may be a very bleak future into an existential crisis, both for people, the planet, and the city of Mumbai in many different ways. And I'm referring to the ecological infrastructure, the natural ecological infrastructure. And that's the Mother Earth. That's the vast extent of the natural resources that we do possess, very fortunately. And as I keep saying, Mumbai is one rare city in the world with the richest and the most extensive natural ecology amongst any city in the world, and very truly so. Here's one slide. I don't know if you can really see very clearly. Sir, Mumbai's natural areas occupy 140 square kilometers. As vast as that. Mumbai's developable area or buildable area, not developable but buildable area, is somewhere approximately 240 square kilometers. And all our efforts, development plans, infrastructure planning, all of that is rooted how this 240 square kilometers can be improved or developed. But in that process, we have excluded the 140 square kilometers of the natural ecology. And this natural ecology includes the water courses of the estuary, which now we've turned them into, or we refer to them as the nallas, which are truly about 800 kilometers of nallas, of which 300 kilometers are major nallas. We have 4 rivers in Mumbai. We have hills, we have forests, we have wetlands, we have creeks, and we have a whole host of beaches and waterfronts and so on and so forth. Now, why is this important? Why is this ecological infrastructure become suddenly so significant, for which I'm compelled to speak? It is due to a very simple fact that today we are faced with, and which I said earlier is leading us to an existential crisis, both for people and the planet. And that is the climate crisis. The climate crisis is compelling on us now. It, in fact, is our primary responsibility now to respond to it and not ignore it any longer. And how can this be done is a few cues or directions that I will speak about, not with the same experience or authority that you both have had through the implementation of many big infrastructure projects. But I suppose the question is important. And it's for all of us to collectively think how we can actually undertake together such an infrastructure that will save us in the future. One of the big things of climate crisis, if I may point out just one aspect, is the rising temperature. That really is the most critical aspect that affects us and our experiences of living, particularly in a city where the livability of a city also depends on the climate of the city, the weather conditions of a city, the temperature levels of a city. I'm sure I don't need to elaborate. We all are today really moved by, in many different ways and differently, it depends on where we are and in what income categories and where we are placed with comfort or discomfort, the rising temperature. Now, what has rising temperature done in Mumbai and in cities in general? It has led to what we call is a heat island effect. This heat island effect is leading to what we call is a severe heat stress. And this heat stress that is caused, like many other stress in the city, our experience of running between places, job stress, etc., is causing havoc on both mental and physical health of people, and therefore their productive capacity in particular, and hence the economy of the city. So I may sort of connect this infrastructure to finally its productivity or the economy of the city. It's in that perspective, I feel this is the most urgent infrastructure concern that we have. Now, the current trend of development, and I don't call it current trend of development, but the current trend of growth. I'm just distinguishing between the two words, development and growth. Growth has been compelling in certain ways, and each of these big projects add to that growth in physical terms. But development is a different question, and I leave it that at this point and not go into it. But the way we are constructing buildings in particular, and of course mega infrastructure projects in the city, and the way they are being permitted with a host of concessions, is undoubtedly propelling this crisis of rising temperature. The heat island effect, the heat stress, and its impact on health, both mental and physical. Many studies have been done, particularly in rehabilitation colonies in Mumbai, in settlements of the working class and the poor, and their impact on health has been phenomenal. And as we've read and we know, that it's really the poor and the working class who are most affected by climate change impacts or climate crisis impact. Even I wouldn't call it climate change, it's climate crisis in many ways. So therefore, sir, the jostling high-rise buildings without open spaces is one immediate question that I'm dealing with here. And I keep saying that in Mumbai, we are affected by a build more syndrome, amongst many other syndromes. It's almost like a disease, like, it's a build more syndrome. We just think with blinkers on our eyes to just see how we can just build more. And we are made to believe that by just building more, we will take care of all the problems. We'll take care of the shortage of housing that really is a big issue in the city. We'll take care of many, many other things like infrastructure, for example, the social amenities and social infrastructure, for example. So how do we do this? I keep saying now there is no ground to live happily. Slowly, our open grounds, our open spaces are being taken away to further construction interest. Even the natural areas, which I talked about of 140 square kilometers, are not being spared either. There's this constant talk of salt pan lands to be built upon, mangroves being cut, the wetlands being taken over, the creeks being canalized, the rivers being concretized, and so on and so forth. What's our task ahead? There's just one issue, sir. And Mr. Gagrani, I would really honestly appeal to you to look into this aspect really, because this is factual data. It's no hypothesis. That can we expand open spaces at all levels in the city? We're talking about expanding buildings. Can we expand with construction, expanding grounds, open spaces as much as we can? And there are multiple ways of doing that. On plots to city-wide basis, this can be done, which is being scuttled by a host of concessions, regulations under the DCR, payment of premium to take away open spaces and build on them. In fact, open spaces now has a price tag on it. One has the right to deplete it by making a payment. It's as grave as that. And if we can stop and look at some of these ones. The second, conserve the vast extent of the city's natural areas I talked about. It's a question of recognition. It's there. We know it's there, but what we look at, we don't see. We see only what suits us and serves our interest, which are limited to the point of maximizing construction akin to development or connected with development. So we look at things, but we refuse to see them. But this hidden infrastructure is very important to now recognize. Plant more trees everywhere, not cut them down. We cut them down with many excuses of falling on people, falling on cars, dirting our compound walls. But we have to go on planting more trees, conserving trees, and including, sir, there's a concept that every city in the world is looking at, is developing urban forests. Pick up the margins, pick up the excluded areas, neglected areas, start planting, developing urban forests. So you talked about the New York City, and that Mumbai almost follows the same path as the New York City. Yes, but in a very linear fashion, with turning our eyes away from what they're doing today. What they did 50 years back is what we're trying to do now here. But now they're breaking down concrete walls. They're reopening the rivers. They're breaking down coastal roads in many, many parts of the United States. In Korea, they discovered, and in Japan, they discovered hidden rivers under highways and roads and buildings. They're now undoing those, they're evacuating those buildings, they're demolishing them. So, sir, we don't have to go by the same linear path, but jump to seeing the conservation efforts, the investments that New York is doing. Sir, New York, after the cyclone, launched a project under Obama called, after the Sandy, I'm forgetting the name, sir, but they are in a natural way now creating how they can protect Manhattan from the rising sea levels and storms and sea surges and all that. So build with nature, build in nature would have to be our planning approach for city development. That's really the underlying score that we have to be committed to. And what's more important, natural ecology, sir, inherently, as people are inherently, are interdependent and interconnected. We, through the models of urbanization and city development, have constantly severed these relationships over time, including slogans of individualization, individual, whatever. Individualism is the call of the day, that we can be independent of the other. So, sir, with urban forests, with conservation of natural areas, we have to start interlinking them, start reviving the lost relationships in nature that are interdependent and inherently, intricately intertwined. So these relationships are important. And this is all a part of that ecology infrastructure that I'm talking about. I'm cutting it short. The Indian Ocean is hotting up. It's impacting the Arabian Sea. Mumbai is under direct threat because of the turmoil in the Arabian Sea, the rising temperatures. There is a constant uncertainty with the intensity, the scale and the intensity of cyclonic winds, floods, and so forth. And we know by facts of research around the world, including Indian organizations, so we have facts to that, which parts of Mumbai, to the tune of 20%, will be submerged, not far away, but in the coming 50 to 70 to 80 years. So I will go away, but certainly my children or their children will be in that flood. So, sir, let's protect our open spaces, not provide concessions, stop conversions of open spaces and natural areas to any other uses. Stop open spaces deficiency concessions. Stop construction. Sir, corporation has come out with concessions now that one can build to the edge of a property. So we can do away with a plot open space and provide open space on podiums. So the land will die, it will not revive. The plants will die, the flora fauna will die, and you will be amazed to know that more than 50% of life cycles of this planet survive underground, who are fed by a rich nourishment of the ground, which is due to the trees that grow on them, due to the rainwater that percolates down, etc. Sir, the basements are permitted 1.5 meters setback, but the shore piles beyond that, and beyond that is also concretized. So we have zero open space now throughout plots and developments across Mumbai. So these are some of the big things we can do, and we have to, and we are compelled to do. Let's limit the density of buildings. Not just density of population is another question, but density of buildings that causes the heat island effect. And it's true, what is perceptible heat, sir, is much higher than the ambient heat. And what we are told by the announcements of weather conditions is the ambient temperatures, but not the perceptible or realizable heat at the level of the streets of the neighborhood, which kind of keep bouncing heat from these concrete structures around. So open spaces between buildings becomes important. So I think these are some big points that I would like to make. Restore water, land, and green relationship. Build with nature. I'm tempted to go to another subject that Gurbir raised, that we are deeply concerned in Mumbai, yet we need to address the question of housing shortage. Yet we need to talk about the shortage of amenities for people, schools, healthcare, etc. How do we build if we do all of these things? Don't build on open spaces, don't take natural, how do we do, sir? Sir, we have elaborate master plans for the city, and I request you to please take a look, both Mr. Sinha and Mr. Gagrani, please give us time, and we will show you that through efficient planning, which governments have almost given up and rooted themselves on a project-basis development. We are now driven to the thoughts of project-based development of a city and not planning-based development. We have to get back to planning. And through planning, we are sure the potential that this city's land area has can house twice its population. The government agencies alone own over 5,000 hectares of land dedicated for housing and other social amenities by mandate. Mahada Act is one such example, which is the single largest state-owning land-owning agencies of the state government, with 2,500 hectares of land. So these potentials are there, but this crisis that is leading us to us falling sick, like Kofi Anand's report at the United Nations, sir, established that more people each year die due to climate crisis than the people who died during 2 years of COVID. And this comes up, the COVID comes up because it was intense within a short period of time, whereas the climate deaths are spread over thinly across the globe, from small towns in Africa to Asia to all over the world, now including in the most developed countries. So I leave it with that. How can we do this? How can we bring back these networks of natural ecology? And how can we start planning to live in and with nature? That's the call. That's the infrastructure I'm talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, PK. Very rounded kind of critical points which deserve a lot of attention. Would Mr. Gagrani like to respond to something before we ask Q&A, or just openly? Yeah. So, where I'll just kick off one point which I thought, which was striking me while this discussion was going on, is while a lot of these infra projects are catering to the 10% on the top, an equivalent amount of development is not there for those at the bottom. It's very clear. Flyovers, coastal road, all this is necessary. It's not this versus that. But at the same time, why is it, for instance, that we are not using our water transport? If you take Sydney, Sydney, about nearly 20 to 30% of its common people, they use catamarans. It's got a large waterfront like Mumbai, but waterfronts haven't really developed. At one time, if you remember, those who are a little older, 15 years, 20 years ago, the BEST was the lifeline of the city. The last mile was always done by the BEST. That lifeline is slowly being choked. It's been repeatedly pointed out that transportation is largely now car-based, while those who are doing the last mile without a private car are being choked, because where the BEST used to run about 5,000 buses about 20 years ago, 2 decades ago. Today it's down to, the fleet is down to about 3,000. It's about half the fleet what it used to be. So why are these contradictions taking place? Why is there not, or is there an effort now? Is there some rethinking? In BEST, I think because of constant pressure, there has been some rethinking on this. But could you, Mr. Gagrani, throw some light on this as far as transport infrastructure, working for the common man goes? Is there a new vision about it?
Hello. Yeah, I'll try to respond to this thing. You see the frantic public projects all around Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, and entire MMR region. When our country was fighting the first war of independence, 1857, that time London was constructing the first metro in Paddington, which completed in 1861. Today, London boasts 400 kilometers of metro lines, started from Paddington and recently launched Elizabeth Line. And Mumbai, in last 10 years, will be completed almost 300 kilometers. So this frantic pace, dazing space will compel to think that we are throwing all cautions in the air. That's a myth. Yes, the initial few projects were targeted towards 10% of the society maybe. Not necessarily, but to large extent, yes. Maybe flyovers, roads. Now we are doing concretization of roads, the coastal road. However, please don't forget that next 2 years we will be completing almost 300 kilometers of metro line, which is necessarily a public transport. And therefore, now it's a separate issue Gurbir has raised about how to strengthen the base, how to make the last mile connectivity from metro to the destination. Yes, we are trying on that. MMRDA, BMC, we have done the extensive transport planning. As far as the water transport is concerned, the experiments have been taken place unsuccessfully in the private sector before, with the help of Maharashtra Maritime Board and some other government agencies. Unfortunately, the east coast of Mumbai has multiple challenges. It is controlled by 2 major ports, JNPT and BPT. It is coming in the way of liners, so not necessarily it can be used, and secondly, it cannot cater to large amount of population. Having said that, there is a facility created and now in operational from Bhaucha Dhakka to Nerul. There are good transport facilities. May not be feasible economically, but yes, the facility is there. The RoRo service is there. The West Coast, unfortunately, has got a typical type of terrain, seabed, and that is the reason that the speedboats or the catamarans are not necessarily very feasible transport option, water transport option. Of course, new technologies are coming every day. Those can be explored with. The government has not closed down those options completely, but ultimately the water transport needs to become economically feasible also. The bottom line is that, yes, public transport is taking care of a common person also. Metro lines, the strengthening of best connectivity through the water is already there, and it will be strengthened much more in coming future. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you very much, Mr. Gagrani, for those answers. Now we'll have it opened up to the House. If there are questions, I'm sure there will be. So let's go. We've got Mr. B.N. Kumar asking the first one. Please go ahead.
I will take on from what Mr. Das left off with. The issue of mangroves and wetlands. In the race for development of infrastructure, etc., we have been generally ignoring the presence of mangroves and wetlands. SIDCO, long ago, which was formed in 1970s, even Mr. Sinha was there, we had a vision of having 40% open space. Today, what's happening is whatever little open space is there, that is being tendered, that is being auctioned. Mainly, I will deal with the issue of the mangroves and wetlands. We are not applying any balanced approach towards the infrastructure development, and because of which we have been having unseasonal floods. Today, I am sitting here, mourning the death of 40 flamingos, which died early this morning, in fact, last night, when they crashed into an Emirates flight. Why that those kind of things are happening? Because we have been playing with the aborts of the flamingos, the natural bird, the migratory bird that come here. They are also part of our ecology. And by playing with the wetlands, we are causing floods. By playing with our mangroves, cutting them, and not handing over the mangroves for protection to the forest department. Again, we are playing with them. We are creating opportunity for people to encroach upon, build, occupy those mangrove lands and destroy them. So my question is, what's going to be the policy towards protecting mangroves and wetlands and hills of Mumbai and MMR? And planning of Mumbai should not be limited only to the Mumbai city. Today, Mumbai is MMR.
So I don't know whether Mr. Gagrani can answer all that, but maybe Ms. Sinha?
No, the open space in Bombay is about 8% of the total estimate. In New Bombay, it is 29%. So when we look at Bombay, we have to add New Bombay also to get the macro picture of that. Second is, every proposal for afforestation has been opposed by environmentalists. For example, I had suggested as a urban development secretary to Nariman Point to Cup Parade road to be made, and in between land from Machi Marg to this place be converted into forest. It was turned down. No, how it can be done? No reclamation. And those who are opposing reclamation, they are themselves staying in back bay reclamation. Or at least you are staying in back bay reclamation, then how you are opposing reclamation? Shift to Nagpur or somewhere. Other is, let us look at the new towns which have come. Rajarhat, which I developed in New Nagpur, look at that also. New Nagpur which has been developed, there is a lot of open space. In New Mumbai, there is no flooding. Granny was my successor, he will tell also, because there are holding ponds, which is an open area, hold the water in the excess rains and high tide and release the water. So there is a water body also, and as a SIDCO managing director and Mr. Granny followed it, we had a big nursery for having mangrove saplings. To plant these saplings of mangroves which are very thin and to make it absorb also. So there can be and there are always. Now please, Mr. Das, look at New Bombay, look at Mahim in Nagpur, look at Rajarhat in Calcutta, look at Oris in Sindur and see whether new towns can be made or not. If we want to increase the open area and forest area, there is no option but to reclaim it, some land, and put into the forest. In fact, I remember the note which I sent the government was there, if natural forests are grown, maybe our grandchildren will come to this area to study geology. It was let down. Okay. Simple projects like I was connecting Sant Mantralaya to new administrator with underground road set aside. Did not agree. I wanted to have a parking space where VP Nax's statue there, security ground rejected. Okay. So new projects are very difficult. Let us take a decision. We shall reclaim 5% of Bombay's area, and that shall be made into a dense forest like we have got in Goregaon.
That will be another controversy, but any other questions? Please introduce, and Chand, please give the thing later on back.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, this is Anil Singh, independent journalist. We are talking of comparison with New York, and Mr. Sinha just spoke about forests and the new town which is set up. He's got some forest area. He's talked about open spaces in Navi Mumbai. Why isn't anyone speaking of the great opportunity we had with mill lands, 1/3 of them to be left as open spaces? How was the city robbed of open spaces? Because they say 1/3 of the uncovered land. So all the mill lands were covered with sheds. So all what we got, as Gurbir Singh says, were pitches where you can only play koiba, that marble. I'm sure Mr. Gagrani has played koiba. Utna hi jagah bacha hai. I mean, what are we talking of? What are we talking? You're talking of trees in Navi Mumbai. What are the trees which you have planted in Navi Mumbai? Peltophorum, rain trees, and what is some other bakwas trees? All these exotic trees which are actually spoiling the ecology of the city. This is what we have done. I mean, you see those Peltophorum trees, do you see a single bird nesting on it? No. Because the branching structure is such. Because it's our exotic thing, we take thousands and millions of years for the insects and other things to get acquainted with the plant, familiarized with the plant. They've just planted because 5 saal mein golden shower phool aa jata hai. Why not laburnum? Laburnum Road doesn't have any laburnum trees. Apparently now BMC has planted a few. I think they are very small. But what I'm saying is, where is the thought behind it? Where is the thought behind urban greenery? Where is that? He's talking of forest. And another thing which I want to point out is, why do we always think of as city projects?
We'll have to limit ourselves to questions.
One. Yeah, these are questions, man. Just because, as he says, we refuse to see them as questions, doesn't mean they're not questions. Why do we see urban projects as mega projects? He himself said that 140 square kilometers of Bombay is open. He said, why do you not let people go into the mangroves? 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, make some place. That is an open space. Now what happens? Mangroves are closed to the public, but for dumping, for encroachment, anyone can go and do dumping and encroachment for, but citizens will not be allowed. Now Mr. Gagrani and Mr. Sinha, both of them are from Navi Mumbai. I want to ask them a question. Pandav Khada waterfall is the second highest free falling waterfall in Maharashtra. What have they done with it? Why do we always rush to Bushi Dam, which is not even, there's no comparison with Pandav Khada waterfall. Pandav Khada waterfall falls at 2 Qutub Minars high, and it falls down and it runs down a plain of 3 kilometers. So there's ample space there. But none of it has been developed because CIDCO says it comes under NMMC says it comes under forest. And for the last 20-25 years, we've got such wonderful waterfalls, natural resource being wasted because people can't see. But all the same, these IS officers have made a golf course for themselves.
So can we have them answer the questions?
That is the answer there.
Please. I mean, if you were part of the panel, you could speak, but you can only ask questions, unfortunately. Please, you would like to answer? Yeah.
Well, thank you for reminding me there is a waterfall in Kharghar. Please note, it is not with the CIDCO area. It's like saying that we should develop a waterfall in Himalaya because we are a CIDCO. Not in the CIDCO area, and CIDCO cannot do any project out of the jurisdiction. So please note it. Okay. And so far tree plantation is concerned, my dear sir, there is one road which is called Palm Beach Road. There is other road which is called Banyan Road. There are other road which is called Neem Road. Other road which is called Am Road. The roads have been named after trees because plantation. I remember Mr. Green Kumar met me long back. He said there are only crows and pigeons here. Nobody. I said, then I changed the whole system into the flowering and fruit trees so that other birds may be attracted. Okay. So one has to look at that also. Once Chief Minister asked me, Mr. Chennai, I asked you the plantation and why the plantation is not coming. I said, sir, a building up 8 feet can be done in 21 days, but a plant takes 21 months to go to 8 feet. So you see that they are not competing with the high rise, but in 20 years they will touch the high rise buildings, and this is what is happening in New Bombay. You see, very green area is emerging. Both sides of Palm Beach Road, how green it is.
Can I request questions to be questions and short as well as the answers so we can have more people asking? Just one second, there's a gentleman asking behind.
Sir, Dharmesh Thakkar here from the Free Press Journal. Like my colleague Anil Singh just asked, so I'd like to elaborate it. Earlier we just had the BMC beat, now we have the infrastructure beat also, and most of them are field reporters. We never get information. Unless we get the information, we don't inform our readers this thing. And sometimes when we ask uncomfortable questions, your officers call up the marketing department, threaten to withdraw ads. Why? I can give you today's example. It happened. Your Joint Commissioner, Mr. Chore, he speaks rudely, he calls up the marketing department. Just because you ask that why, if there is a reservation pot for a fire department in Andheri there is no fire station. The fire trucks come from Malad or from Vilepale East. Because of metro construction, it takes at least 45 minutes for a fire truck to reach. There is a shooting studio going over there. Last year there was a fire, 2 people were killed. Hoarding which fell down in Ghatkopar, there are so many letters written, but no action was taken. We are waiting for a disaster. I am for development, I am for infrastructure, but what about accountability? What about responsibility? And when we ask tough questions, uncomfortable questions, we become enemy number one. We are barred entry inside the BMC. So, sir, are you bringing some accountability, and especially I'd like to give the name, the Joint Commissioner, Mr. Chore.
Now I know why Prime Minister Modi doesn't have press conferences, but anyway.
Hello? Am I audible? Yeah. First of all, I don't think it is very appropriate to take anyone's name and make an allegation when the person is not present. Whatever. Whatever. But it is highly inappropriate. Having said that, the first question, with my limited understanding, what I have understood is that as far as infrastructure bit is concerned, there is no appropriate flow of information which is reaching to the press. I don't want to justify or defend that thing. If there are any shortcomings, or if there is no proper flow of information, we would like to take corrective actions within BMC. Having said that, let me tell you that there is nothing called infrastructure engineer or assistant commissioner infrastructure who is handling all the projects, all the data, all the issues, entire matter. Those are linear working departments. And in fact, let me tell you that our challenge is that many times those departments don't talk to each other. Where is the question of giving one single point information? The person working in solid waste, person working in special projects, sewerage, water supply, roads. There are huge number of linear projects which are going on, and that is the reason there may not be single point of information which is available to the press. However, that is our internal challenge, not your challenge, how to facilitate that information to you. There is a multiplicity of agencies which is working in Mumbai. MMRDA is working on the projects of 50,000 crore as on today. BMC has already awarded the projects of more like 250,000 crores. MSRDC, PWD, state government agencies. So whole bunch of agencies which are working in infrastructure. There is not a single agency which is either controlling the issues or information. Same is true with BMC, but your point is well taken. We will try to amend that thing and we'll try to facilitate a single point information as far as possible. Thank you.
One second. Let no follow-ups. Let others also include. I think Mr. Anil Harish wanted a question asked. Please, could you give the mic here? After that, Nauzar. And
thank you. My name is Anil Harish, advocate. Firstly, Mr. Sinha, Mr. Gagrani, Mr. Das, and Gurveer, thank you very much for a most enlightening and interesting session. I have always been impressed with a statement by Mr. Gustave Petro, who was mayor of Bogota in Colombia, that a developed city is not one where the poor have cars, it's one where the rich use public transportation. Mr. Das and Mr. Gagrani and Mr. Sinha, do you think it is possible for Mumbai to move in that direction? Thank you.
I think you already reacted. Okay. So what Mr. Gagrani actually pointed out is that the initial takeoff, you may have certain roads, etc., catering to the 10%, but then the city is also covering up on the question of public transportation. One of the largest metro networks is coming into force over the next 2 years, and these will unfold as time passes. So there is a balance, and that view, what view you are expressing, has been discussed and adopted by the planners in Mumbai. That's what he has said in his introduction. I think Nauzar had a question. And then there's a lady behind, I think you have a question.
Nauzar Barucha here. Don't you think the more roads you build and the more flyovers you build, they'll be taken over by cars? Every new road that has been built in Mumbai over the past 20 years has seen massive traffic jams. All the flyovers, all the roads. Would you like to react to that?
Actually, it's a pertinent point. The larger space you open up for private transportation or ultimately gets taken over, and that part of private transport then tends to dominate. That is what Nauzar is trying to say.
In 1999, I started a hovercraft from Vashi to Gateway of India. 2 hovercraft were running. The company who are running it went bankrupt and got closed. And nobody else came to run it. Okay. We always compare ourselves that the BST buses are poor, they are irregular, they are slow, and London transport is very good. Yes, you get in the London transport, you first pay is £5. Mr. Jha, what is £5 equivalent to Indian rupees? This is the minimum fare you paid. And here, if the 5 rupees increased to 6 rupees, they say, no, if it increased to 6 rupees, they say, we are poor country, how can we pay it? If you are poor country, your services can't be reached. Sorry to say, but fact is like this. We have to go from poverty to richness to get better services like that. We can't expect facilities at New York at Indian income. And check up the property rate in New York and compare with slums free, small houses free. Every new government comes, make something free. And then burden is put on the municipal corporation, why are not doing it? You don't pay water charges, you don't pay street charges, you don't pay cleaning charges, you don't pay property tax, but provide me the services. I think this attitude has to go. The attitude of only expecting feebles from the government, and which is the fashion these days in political manifestos. Everything is free, including GST will be free.
No, Nauzar, all new places which are created are consumed by the private cars. That is really the challenge. How to address is the challenge before urban planners, transport engineers. One way is strengthening the public transport, trying to incentivize the private, which is easier said than done because there is a huge amount of affordability, huge amount of automobile revolution in the country. So once upon a time which is not affordable has become suddenly multiplying effect affordability. So the innovative things like congestion charges, whether we can introduce it, but again there will be a lot of political balancing required. London has done it, some other major, Berlin has done it. Whether we can introduce congestion charges, that also I don't think will be very effective. So the preliminary reaction to your question is that yes, this is a challenge. We have to tackle it. We'll have to change the mindset of the people slowly. But at the same time on infrastructure fund, need to strengthen the public transport.
We have one question from the lady. Okay, can we take two questions? We'll have last two. Mr. Date.
Yeah, thank you. We had a very good discussion. Now, what Mr. R.C. Sinha says, we are giving subsidy to the BST users. And you see, what about the huge subsidy we are giving to motor cars and free parking? Nowhere in the world this is done. I mean, it's absolutely regressive. The whole transport policy, I'm very sorry, we are very enlightened bureaucrats, I'm not doubting that. But the whole, it is entirely regressive. I mean, we had such a beautiful, as Gurbir has said, such a good BST service, and we are dismantling it. I mean, there is no other word. I mean, it can't be done. You are spending 1 lakh crores on the metro, which will deliver results after years. And here we are having a current crisis that we are not dealing with about the BST. It is the real lifeline after the railways.
And we'll take one more question.
This is for Mr. Sinha's information. Hello. This is for Mr. Sinha's information. Best has never tried to raise the tickets in Mumbai, which people are ready to pay. Instead, from Lokhandwala, Andheri to Andheri station, previously it was rupees 10. They made it 3-4 years ago rupees 5. There was no need to cut down the fare. AC buses are shut down now, but the AC bus fare from Andheri Lokhandwala to Churchgate was 120. 5 years ago, it was made rupees 80 unnecessarily. Unnecessarily Best made the AC bus fare from 120 to 80, and the project collapsed and they had to shut down the services. So, because of the negligence of the Best authorities, they have completely put the service, the best ever bus service in city, into doldrums. And there is no question of people.
Okay, point taken. Mr. Sinha is replying. And we'll have one last question from the lady there. And we are shutting because they have to, panelists are wanting to close the meeting.
You know, in 1997, Government of India appointed a committee under Mr. Madhav Jog committee, and they suggested construction of 55 flyovers. 3 flyovers I could not construct it. 1, I wanted to have connector Bandra Khar to Vessel through by tunnel under the Juhu beach. Airport said, no, we will not allow it. I said, I am going to conduct 100 way, your airport will not stop. No, we can't give it. Barfiwala Junction, the government said, you don't acquire it. And Haji Ali, who design was ready, Mr. Singh, but 2 politicians said, I want from my office entry to that road and exit to that road. And I told Mr. Gadkari, I said, it's impossible technically. In that road, I was aware of this also, it's impossible, there is no place. We enter into the railway line if we want to give the entry. I had to give up. Till now that has not been made. My dear sir, in that year, I had made a statement to the press. Kumar will bear it also because he was present. I told him 52 flyovers have been made, but every year Mumbai rate at least 15 flyovers to see the congestion does not get worse than that. It has not been done. Okay.
So one last question is that lady, and then we are
Gurveer, just
yeah, 1 second.
No, I just wanted to close this loop. Is that when we say that entire infrastructure is only for 10% and it is not egalitarian and those kind of a thing, we necessarily speak only about public transport. I don't know why public transport is being treated only talking about transport, why it is being treated as the only thing because of its visual impact or what, I don't know. But all sorts of infrastructure. BMC water supply. BMC is supplying 5,000 MLD water per day. There is no discrimination. Everyone gets the water in Mumbai. Sewage treatment. Everyone is getting that thing. We are laying down 7 STPs of 15,000 crore, more than 15,000 crore. There is no discrimination. Solid waste. सब रोड साफ होते हैं, सबके कचरे सोसाइटी से निकलते हैं. There is no question of having for 10% or 90%. Public gardens open to everyone. So our obsession only with transport is okay. That is a problem. We agree. We accept. That's a challenge. However, it is not limited. We are not saying that we are serving only 10%. All other services, Mumbai is very beautiful down underground, not in the euphoric this thing, but underground it's a very beautiful. All the lines, sewage treatment lines, storm water lines, water supply lines, we are sitting on the lines of more than 15,000 kilometers. Island city, of course, legacy of British, but that is being extended by our people. And whole Mumbai network, I don't think this network anywhere exists in India at least. So that's a very, and that is available to everyone. Please accept this thing. Thank you.
I think point taken, there's a large underbelly which the BMC serves, which is not noticed. I think we should understand that. One last question. Yes, please. Could you introduce?
Hi. Actually, my question is, basically we heard about various issues, be it congestion, public transport, the depleting green cover. So my question is really simple, that when are we going to shift our focus onto developing Mumbai as a pedestrian-oriented city, where we have uninterrupted vision, which is currently blocked and will be blocked due to some infrastructure projects. I'm not against infrastructure development. We need a augmentation of it, but in a more sustainable manner, where pedestrians are highly regarded and respected, where we don't have a challenge walking on a footpath every day, or the city plays a positive role as a transition space between workspace and homes, and not making the journey very stressful. So that's my question.
So, I mean, it's an interesting point that is the BMC thinking of doing something on pedestrian traffic?
No, of course, we accept that thing. Right now, because of infrastructure projects, lot of footpaths have been compromised. Regardless, even those projects are completed and the barricades have been removed, it is not necessary that there will be very world-class footpaths. We accept that thing. Old city, island city has got fairly good amount of footpath network, pedestrian network. However, many places we are contesting and conflicting with availability of space. However, whatever needs to be done for pedestrian, unfortunately, that is not been done for various challenges, but we will try to improve on that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Gagrani, Mr. P.K. Das, Mr. Sinha, for the wonderful presentations. And thank you, audience, for being the members as well as journalists for this fantastic interaction that we've had. Thank you very much.